Hi, and welcome back. And today we're going to talk about what you can do when you have a budget blowout. I've got 4 tips for you. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Claire O'Connell. I'm the beating heart behind Reno Way of Life, and this is the right channel for you if you love everything to do with home, including renovation, design, and investing. We're going to be talking about budget blowout, and I have 4 tips for you if you find yourself with a budget blowout. Now, maybe you haven't renovated yet or before, and you're not really sure what can cause a budget blowout. So if you're not, make sure you check out my last video, which is some of the reasons that can cause budget blowouts. And now we're going to get into what to do about it. The first thing to do is to have a plan. And so the main part of having a plan is that you're basically working out what your budget is. You're allocating money to certain parts of the project. And when you develop your plan, it's really important that you factor in time and money. So what you need to be thinking of is not just the job itself, the trades, but also some of the finishing elements, like how you plan to finish the house. And then the other very important thing to do when you're putting your plan together is to put in a contingency. Now, my advice is 15 to 20% because problems arise, and it is more common than not that something will come up that will cause a bit of a budget blowout. So have the money set aside in your plan so that you don't have to rob Peter to pay Paul. Okay? So tip number 2. Rework the plan. So as soon as you have that hit, so maybe you found out that you have $20,000 worth of structural damage to your property that you didn't know about before, and you need to find that money, then I would suggest you go straight to your plan and you start to work through where you can take bits and pieces to pay for that amount, so that you can factor it in right now. Now, if you have that contingency in place already, then obviously you can just take from the contingency. If that doesn't quite cover it, that's when you'll need to go back to your plan and you'll need to start working through, you know, am I still gonna be able to afford those marble countertops, or do I need to pick a different stone? Or can I afford to install that fireplace, or do I need to pick something else? So, you need to make some really tough design decisions to determine where you're going to save that extra money, because don't skimp on the mechanical elements of the house. So, you need to spend the money to fix the problems and do it right. There is no point putting up, hiding those problems behind the walls again. And we've been flipping houses for 10 years. We always spend the money to make sure that the mechanics of the house is right. And then what's left of the budget goes to the design elements. And that's where you can get really creative to make sure that you're picking some great elements that can make the house look really expensive, even if you're on a budget. So tip number 3 is to cut back, which we've kind of already talked about with reworking the plan, but I did go through a little bit more detail. But you can make cutbacks with reducing, square footage. You can reduce design elements like fireplaces. Maybe you don't put that stack stone on the outside of the house. Maybe you just make it a feature on one wall, those sorts of decisions. And then finally, step 4 is if you are absolutely adamant that you are not going to change your plan, but you still need to find the money, then ultimately find the money elsewhere. So start to think about how you can get a loan, whether or not you can borrow the money. There's lots of different avenues that you might be able to take to keep the integrity of the job at hand. Now, that's fine when it comes to your personal house, but what I will say, if you are flipping houses and this is an investment house, you need to remember that the most important thing, obviously, to create a safe and lovely house for somebody, but it's a business. So you also need to make sure that your bottom line is protected. So if you're having to pay $20,000 to fix this structural issue, then you absolutely should be taking that out of the finishing products and downgrading some of those elements, but you can still make a house feel very expensive on a budget. Trust me, we've done it multiple times. By adding in some smaller custom elements, you can absolutely add more value, and I'll be sharing some more tips on that in some later videos as well. Well, if you found this helpful, please hit like. Don't forget to subscribe below. Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to share with you my next video.